At the heart of Stoic thought lies a single imperative: to act by nature, with reason, and with virtue. This does not mean to act impulsively or without foresight, but to act when action is required, to move, speak, and rise, despite discomfort or fear. The Stoic recognizes that inaction, cloaked in the guise of caution, is often a form of cowardice. And in that hesitation, we plant the seeds of regret. The Stoics observed that regret tends to visit us not for what we dared to do, but for what we left undone. It is the silence when we should have spoken, the withheld courage when the moment called for boldness, the words unsaid, the step unchosen, and the letter unwritten. And though we may rationalize in the moment that we were waiting for the right time rarely returns. Boldness, in the Stoic sense, is not the reckless pursuit of danger or glory. It is the willingness to act rightly, even when the outcome is unclear or fear looms. It is guided not by impulse, but by principle. To be bold is to do what conscience affirms and to endure what may come with equanimity. Marcus Aurelius did not wish to be emperor. But when called, he ruled, not for ambition's sake, but because the role demanded his integrity. A life lived with Stoic boldness will not be free of scars. But those scars will not be shameful, they will be honorable. They will mark the moments we chose to act when silence would have been easier. And that choice, to step forward when the safer path was retreat, is the difference between a life remembered and a life merely survived. So when the question arises, what is the safe thing to do? The Stoic reframes it. He asks instead, what is the right thing to do? And in choosing to act, he escapes the shadow of regret and steps into the growth arena. When misunderstood, regret feels like failure's echo, persistent, painful, relentless. But to the Stoic, regret is not a wound to be avoided. It is a teacher to be respected. It carries with it a deep and honest invitation to see clearly, to adjust course, and to move forward with wisdom earned. Stoicism does not deny that we err. It does not promise perfection. Instead, it shows us how to make meaning from missteps. The Stoic does not wallow in what could have been. He does not endlessly relive past decisions. Instead, he briefly looks back, extracts the lesson, and returns to the present more substantial and aware. In this light, regret becomes a mirror, not a sentence. It reflects what we truly value, often revealing where we failed to act in accordance with those values. The opportunity missed, the apology unsaid, the risk we declined to take out of fear, they do not define us, but they do inform us. They mark where we allowed fear to speak louder than purpose. Regret, then, is not the enemy. Stagnation is. The Stoic uses regret not to punish the past, but to shape the future. He asks, what did this moment show me about my priorities? My courage? My self-deception? From there, he builds. More often than not, our most lasting regrets are born not from the things we tried and failed to achieve, but from the things we never dared to try. Not from the blows we took, but from the battles we refused to fight. The Stoic sees this clearly and adjusts. He knows that to avoid regret, one must live with awareness, courage, and most importantly, agency. So each day becomes a new chance. A clean page. The Stoic greets it by asking, what action today will align me with my principles? What hesitation today will become tomorrow's regret? In this practice, regret no longer enslaves. It enlightens. And now let's draw 12 principles for the Stoic. Each one is drawn not from lofty theory but from the lived marrow of Stoic practice. These are not rules. They are reminders. Carved from trial, tested by time, and ready to be carried into the stillness of reflection and the weight of real decisions. Principle 1. Live by values, not by outcomes. The Stoic understands that outcomes are echoes, uncertain, often unjust, always impermanent. But values? Values are firm. They are the compass that remains steady even when the sky goes dark. A Stoic does not act because it guarantees success. He acts because it aligns with his identity. When you live by values, you do not ask, will this work? You ask, is this right? This empowerment from living by values is what inspires the Stoic to endure, regardless of praise or punishment, favorable or unfavorable results. Whether praised or punished, whether the result is favorable or not, The Stoic endures because his actions spring from integrity, not approval. This constancy is freedom, not from difficulty, but from the self-betrayal that regret always follows. It's this sense of freedom that liberates the Stoic from the fear of regret, allowing him to act with independence and self-assurance. Principle 2. Let boldness be your default, not hesitation. In indecision, the Stoic leans forward, not recklessly, but with resolve. He knows that most regret is born not from what we dared to do, but from what we shrank away from. Boldness is the answer to stagnation, fear, and a half-measured life. Boldness does not guarantee ease, but it promises growth. It offers clarity. If grounded in principle, every bold act is a victory in itself, no matter the external result. The Stoic moves not because the path is guaranteed, but because the step is worthy. It's this promise of growth that encourages the Stoic to act boldly, regardless of the outcome, fostering a sense of optimism and encouragement. Principle 3. Train your attention to the present moment. A distracted mind is a drifting ship. The Stoic returns again and again to now, not because it is easy, but because it is the only place life actually happens. He does not ruminate on what cannot be changed. He does not fear what may never arrive. In the present, the Stoic finds clarity, breath, and the moment where action lives. And that moment is everything. Whether in conflict or contemplation, on a battlefield or in a quiet room, the Stoic commands his focus, and that focus becomes power. Principle 4. Do not postpone the work that matters. The Stoic does not wait for better timing. He does not let fear disguise itself as preparation. He begins, even if imperfectly. He understands that delay is often the silent partner of regret. Every day not acted upon becomes a burden later carried. So he acts. He does not rush blindly, but he does not wait endlessly. The Stoic respects time too much to squander it. He knows the cost of hesitation and the reward of showing up. Principle 5. Own your decisions, all of them. Excuses are the language of avoidance. The Stoic speaks another dialect, ownership. He accepts the full weight of his choices, not just their triumphs, but their stumbles. He does not shield himself from blame. He absorbs it, learns from it, evolves because of it. In ownership, the Stoic becomes free. He no longer fears error because he no longer hides from it. He faces forward, not because the past is irrelevant, but because he has already learned what it had to teach. Principle 6. Expect hardship, prepare for it, welcome its lessons. The Stoic does not seek hardship but does not recoil from it either. He expects difficulty, not as pessimism, but as realism. When hardship arrives, he does not ask, "Why me?" He asks, "What now?" He faces pain not with denial, but with discipline. He lets hardship be a fire that tempers, not a flood that drowns. Through adversity, the Stoic finds his edges, and he becomes more whole in finding them. Principle 7. Measure progress by effort, not applause. The Stoic knows applause is hollow if the action behind it is untrue. He does not measure growth by recognition. He measures it by effort. By the quiet work no one sees. By the promises kept in silence. Progress is slow. It is not always obvious. But the Stoic trusts in compounding. He knows that small, daily actions, done with intention, reshape the soul. The only validation he seeks is the sense of having honored what he said he would do. Principle 8. Use failure as a mirror, not a verdict. Failure does not define the Stoic, it refines him. When a plan falters or a goal remains unmet, he does not crumble. He studies. He asks, "What part of me must grow to carry this better next time?" He treats failure not as shame, but as information. He does not collapse under it. He rises through it. Each failure, faced fully, sharpens the next decision. Regret fades when failure is transformed. Principle 9. Detach from praise and blame alike. The Stoic is immune not because he is indifferent, but because he is grounded. Praise does not make him complacent. Blame does not unravel him. He is moved only by principle, not by opinion. He listens. He weighs. But he is not owned by reaction. What others say about him does not change what he knows about himself. That knowledge is earned, not given. And it cannot be taken. Principle 10. Reflect without shame, improve without ego. Each day ends with a question. Did I live in alignment with who I aim to become? The Stoic reflects not to criticize, but to calibrate. He does not inflate the good or hide from the bad. He studies both with equal honesty. Reflection is the Stoic's reset, a space not for self-punishment but for refinement. He enters the next day with clarity, not because he is perfect but because he is committed to the work. Principle 11. Let gratitude ground you in what remains. The Stoic navigates life with a mindset that elevates the present moment above the shadows of scarcity. He is not swayed by the absence of what he desires. Instead, he remains anchored in the abundance that life offers. Rather than measuring his worth by deficiencies, he directs his attention towards the privileges and opportunities that enrich his journey, the bonds he cultivates, the lessons learned, and the experiences that shape his character. For the Stoic, gratitude is not merely an ephemeral sentiment. It is a steadfast practice that frames his understanding of the world. It serves as a lens through which he perceives both challenges and joys, reminding him that even in adversity, there exists the seed of appreciation. In the face of trials, the Stoic acknowledges the simple fact of his existence. He is alive, he breathes. This awareness alone is of significant value. Each loss, while poignant, often conceals within it remnants to celebrate, a lesson imparted, moments cherished, or the resilience forged in hardship. The Stoic actively seeks out these beacons of hope and beauty, honoring the full spectrum of life's experiences. Through this practice, he cultivates resilience. By recognizing what endures rather than lamenting what has departed, he discovers the fortitude to advance. Rather than being weighed down by unfulfilled desires, he is strengthened by a profound sense of gratitude, propelling him with purpose and clarity on his path. Principle 12. Leave no room for the regret of inaction. The most profound regret is often silence, the thing unsaid, the leap unmade, the truth denied. The Stoic acts. He does not act blindly, but he acts. He does not hide behind uncertainty or let comfort prevent conviction. When he looks back, he knows he tried. He knows he showed up. He knows he spoke when it mattered and stood when it counted. That is enough. In action aligned with principle, the Stoic finds freedom from regret. He walks forward, not perfectly, but boldly, and that boldness becomes his legacy.